Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming for Love Alone Counts #2. Love Alone Counts. That's the theme of our new program for our Mary's Ministry channel slash YouTube.com. Love Alone Counts. As I said yesterday, this is taken from the Little Flowers words. A doctor of the church, the Little Flower, Saint Therese of the Child Jesus, and of the Holy Face. I am so grateful that you're here again. I am so glad to be back on YouTube after a long time away from it due to technical difficulties and my visit with my mother at home. When I was visiting my mother, one of my sisters, Janice, suggested that I watched a video entitled Life is Beautiful. And she said it was a very, very wonderful story. It was funny and yet tragic. Well, I did one night, and I was so moved by it. I mentioned it in my reflections, and I'm starting to mention it now in our YouTube program. But it fits right in with our theme, Love Alone Counts. I don't want to give it away because I encourage you all to watch it. It's just a wonder. It won 2 Academy Awards. It's Italian made. I saw it in Italian, but with the English subtitles below the screen. But it was a beautiful movie. It moved me so much. At the time I saw it, I was with my mother, and being with mother. My mother took care of us kids, 8 children, and a wonderful father who's now in heaven. She has being older like I'm going to get, and I'm already there probably. She's 92 years old, had many difficulties, and there were some certain challenges that I had to face with her. My own inadequacy was number one. But anyway, I was inspired by this movie, Life is Beautiful, to really respond to my mother no matter how many times she might repeat a question. I would respond with God's grace and the inspiration of this movie as if the first time she asked that question. I would respond again and again with the freshness that she gave to the question. And with the freshness that to Mom, this is as if it was the first time she asked the question to me, even though it was asked many times before. That's the only example. There are many other things too, little tiny things that only showed my own selfishness and my and because there were struggles, not with Mom, but within myself. Mom was fine; she was a super mom. But yet being challenged by some of the challenges of old age, which is no big deal. But for me, it was tough. But this movie showed this wonderful father in a concentration camp with his son, and how he helped his son, no matter how bad things were, to see life is beautiful, and also he was heroically tried to rescue his wife. So both his son and his wife, he got them through the concentration camp, and it's just a beautiful film. It's funny and yet it's tragic, but it's inspiring. And I found out that Life is Beautiful was one of the favorite movies of Blessed John Paul II. I didn't know about that. I found out about it that when I mentioned it to one of our ministers in our Mother of God Ministries, which I direct. Don said that Cindy, our foundress, recommended watching Life is Beautiful also. I don't know where I was when all this was happening, but she also knew it was a favorite of Blessed John Paul II. and she recommended it highly to the ministry to watch. I just found out about it when my sister told me about it. But I found out about it at the time I needed to hear about it. And I call his love, the father's love for his little son and his wife in the concentration camp, his love, unflappable love. No matter how difficult things were, he kept loving. He didn't worry about himself. He kept putting it up, giving himself totally for the love of his child, his son, and for the love of his wife. And I could see, and it was so beautiful. It made life beautiful, even in the ugliness and the horror of a concentration camp. Well, I'm a little more less dramatic, but it inspired me to make my 10-day stay with Mom a joyful and a happy event, something new all the time. Even though sometimes things were repetitious, it gave a freshness, it gave a meaning to whatever the challenge was. And it was a joy to be with Mother, even more so after I saw this movie. I call it Unflappable Love. Then I look around, I see Unflappable Love all about me. I went to the post office and I had to rush off some holy cards to someone because they didn't know I was on vacation or with my mother, and they needed them right away. Anyway, I was standing in line. There was only one post person in the lobby in the stations, and there was a line behind me. But anyway, I watched him. He was a person with some disability. His motor reflexes were slow and angular. I knew something was that he had some disabilities. Yet he waited on his each customer as if that customer was a VIP, a very important person. He was kind and sweet, and one person came with just loads of $5 bills, $2,000 overheard, to put it in a money order, and he had to count all these. Well, it was going really slow, and he said, "Could you to the customer count it or flip the bills, and we will count together." Well, the customer happened to be a cashier at the local casino, and she just did it really fast. And they got done real fast. But he was humble to ask to be helped by this his disability. Even though he tried to do it himself, his hands didn't work as fast as that cashier's for sure. She just flipped them right through like a machine. But anyway, I was so admired his kindness, his sweetness, his humility to ask help. His joy, his happiness, I saw. I was just smiling and gleaming and I didn't know if he even noticed, but he looked over the shoulder of the customer. He saw me, and he smiled with a very knowing smile. I knew something, I saw something good in him. And did I? I saw Unflappable Love. Well, when I got to the counter, I walked up, I greeted him out loud. Then under my breath I said, "You're wonderful." There's a lot of people behind me there. And he said, "Thank you." He knew that he was someone special to me. And then we talked about Mother Teresa, Blessed Mother Teresa of Calcutta stamps. I said, "Are they going?" "Yeah, they're going," he said. "But unfortunately, they're not forever stamps, and a lot of people don't want to get stuck when they change the prices on the stamps." Well, I said, "Well, I want a whole sheet of them," and he was really kind. He was right there, answering all my needs. I had many needs, many different tasks he had to do. Anyway, and when I just about left, I said, "Oh, by the way, I overheard the postal clerk say that he was to a previous customer that he was had an accident. He broke his neck, and that's the reason why he couldn't do the bills real fast with his hands. Well, when I was leaving, and he could see me, I almost had tears in my eyes because I just admired him so much, even though I was talking about Mother Teresa stamps and everything. But in a quiet way, I said, your accident was a blessing. Nobody else heard it but him. You know what? He said, thank you. And we just left, him gleaming and me almost in the verge of tears, seeing such goodness and beauty in his unflappable love. His disabilities didn't stop him. He was just so sweet and kind to everyone. Suffering does that, you know. We either turn real bitter and hard, angry, or we can turn real mild and sweet and kind and strong and considerate. We what I call, no matter how difficult things are in the moment, it will not overcome love, and I call that unflappable love. And that's what we're called to have. And does it change life? Life is beautiful when we have love, because we're not worried about number one. We're not worried about the world. We love the world. We embrace the world. We see all the commotion in the world, but we know that God is in charge. We know that He will bring a greater good out of the evil that we are experiencing. We put our faith in God and not in politicians and programs and things. Yes, we got to work hard and roll up our sleeves to make a better world and do our duty and do our occupations well with this love, this unflappable love. But ultimately, we put our trust in God and we please Him and Him alone, not ourselves, not even others, because others maybe would want us to compromise our principles or something like that. We have the courage to stay in there, like this father in the concentration camp in this beautiful film, Life is Beautiful. He stayed right in there. He loved everybody. He loved his fellow inmates in the concentration camp blockhouse there. He loved the guards and everything. He was always he was like a clown, and I love that too, because his clowning inspired his son and helped him lift his spirit in all this awful place, and it helped others too. It helped him to show love, to show faith, to show hope, and he persevered right to the last. And I want to give you the ending because I want you to watch Life is Beautiful. It's still around. I saw it on a video, but I'm sure it's on DVD too. But anyway, my point is that God is calling us to unflappable love. Look at Jesus. I was leading people yesterday on the way of the cross, and he died. He fell 3 times on the way. I said, I love those falls of Jesus, because I fall. I lost count how many times I fall every day. You know, he fell 3 times on the way to Calvary, but he got back up. He had unflappable love. He kept on going because he came to save us, and he's about ready to do it when he is raised up on the cross to give his life for love of us, that we may live now by grace and forever in glory, by glory in heaven, face to face with him forever in heaven. So he had unflappable love, and he calls us to have the same unflappable love, not to give up, not to think about number one, not to worry about ourselves and whatever, but to be more concerned for others, above our own needs, above our own good, to love others with all we have, and not to hold back, to love with an unflappable love, and not to let the world discourage us, but love overcomes everything. Love makes everything beautiful, no matter how ugly things are, no matter how bad things are, no matter. We're going through a lot with the church. One of our most famous and greatest preachers is leaving the priesthood. That's a darkness, but we know that God will help that padre, that God will help the church get through this darkness, that God will see us through this and bring us on the other end to a greater good, like he did with Jesus.